Morning Crossfire Sunny show that just ended with a vocal majesty. Well, yours truly is here, Kimberly Wachuku, Kim, the Oracle, the fellow OTF Madam Speaker, reporting for duty. And I'll be here till 7, and I'm not flying solo because Itodo is here.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the show. We're going to have a good time as always. There's so much drama happening in the country, and we'll get to talk about it today.
Oh, yes. So much going on. With Nigeria, every 24 hours comes with something breaking, something to thicken the plot a little, and it gets more intense. It goes closer and closer to the polls. And joining us for the roundtable today, the guest is already comfortably seated. We have Kolawole Johnson, a communication strategist. Thank you so much, Kolawole Johnson, for joining us on the roundtable today. Delighted to have you, just.
Kim, I won't start before.
No, I've appealed to you, please. It's a new year.
Look at all the titles you gave yourself.
It's to make up for my height, sir.
It's just only your height. Even size.
It's to make up for all of that.
You don't say if you be car, you won't be using too much fear.
Wow.
All right, but this is not the year to do all of that.
Don't mind us, eh?
Yeah, totally understand.
So, I'm not saying person you have. And when I hear, let me vent.
Exactly.
He happens to be the only guest who picks on me when he comes on the show. I bet will be saying, is it Kolawole? He must pick on Kim before the show is over.
Don't worry, I'll do that again. Okay?
All right.
One bottle of water.
You have it in front of you, sir.
No, this is mine.
No,
you bought one for me.
but can you please put it down? It's not sponsored. We're live. We're streaming live on YouTube and Facebook.
Come on.
Yes.
That's great. Awesome.
Thank you very much. So
don't worry, I'll be here, man.
we want your bottle of water down, sir.
All right, good.
Thank you, sir. All right. So together we're looking at some of the big stories in conversation today, and the Chief Executive Officer of Connected Development, Hamza Lawal, will join us at the 5 o'clock hour as we look 2023, youth, and more. In the wake of the direct comment from the federal government asking vice chancellors to close universities for elections. So there's the directive going out through the NUC ordering the closures of universities to give Nigerian students some time to go back home and hopefully vote. Let's get a bit of the detail for your opinion about this.
This was contained in a letter directed to all vice chancellors dated 3rd of February and signed by the Deputy Executive Secretary Administration for Executive Secretary Dr. Chris A. Miyake. Now, in view of the foregoing and concerns expressed on security of staff, students, and properties of our respective universities, the Honorable Minister of Education, Malam Adamu, has, following extensive consultations with the relevant agency, directed all university and inter-university centers be down and academic activity be suspended between the 2nd of February and 14th March 2023. The letter said, consequently, vice chancellors as well as directors, chief executives of inter-university centers are by this circular requested shut down their respective institution from Wednesday 22nd to March 14th. And a couple of candidates and stakeholders have requested for students to be allowed to go home for the election. Now, this was before the PV collection ended, because the concern was a lot of them who are in schools right now not be able to pick up their PVCs. But seeing that that has ended, and there is no extension inside, what difference would it make to the election, even though we know that a large number of students, over 20 million, make up the election voters?
One thing for sure, they did register a good number of them during the CVR, and schools were on strike, and so pretty much significant. Do you think, Kolawole?
Well, before they came back to in January, they had the holiday, the December holiday, so they must have collected their, PVC. And those who have not collected, you can't stay back. You should be part of happening in your community. And I think I was looking at it before. I thought it was from this week till March. I was like, no, but the day is reasonable, 22nd to 14th, just about 3 weeks. It's not a bad idea. I think it is also good for us to ensure that wards are with the parents, during the election. You can never tell. Of course. And, some will say, oh, this is the only country where we prepare for elections as though we are going into a war. But just that aside, and let's ensure that the students are safe, with the parents where they are. But the issue now may be,
well, is it really about safety or about the opportunity for them to vote where they are registered, maybe?
That is also there, which it's quite commendable too. Let's all be able to vote, especially this election that the youth are trying to, of course, make a very loud statements. Let's hope that they can do that. However, I hope by that time that the cash would have been settled. Else, most of them will not have the cash to travel. Of course, you can't be transferring fund to the driver of the park. They wouldn't, they won't allow you to do anything. So before then, let's go to sort this cash issue and let the nation run as it should. You can buy money with money. You send the person 10,000 naira and you said to be collecting. See, someone collected 5,000 with 8,500. That's desperate. So you have your 5,000 naira, you can only, take 3,500. And the bank charges are also there. Of course, don't forget. So what we have left? You're not buying dollar. You can't be buying naira.
So that's also a group to look at. The fact that some of these students, it depends if SARS not kicked in and they're not broke. You have to say, okay, we might as well make the trip.
Say you were a student now, you can't be this rich. You left home when? How can you be broke now?
You don't know how you work anymore.
See, the reason
you can't arrive on campus at that day.
Broke very quickly. Two things. One, it's either from home. You probably will send, which is understandable.
Yeah.
But the second reason is this: once they give you that money at the beginning, you think, "Don't worry, I can live." You buy the things you don't need. You want to buy, buy some heavy stuff. Thinking, so when they call you back home now, you are good.
but how important is today's election? Going by the numbers,
very important. You look at the number. Very important. Very, very, very important. I think I'm not one of those who I've not been clamoring for Obi. I have always said Obi is one of them, but one of them is talking to us very seriously. He's talking to going to campuses. This is what we should say about campuses. So if he's going to their respective schools and they are buying it, what do you think? They are very important to the election. Very important. Somebody who has stayed back at home for 6-7 months without, you think he shouldn't be part of the election that would, who would determine many years, of his time in school. He will. So I think students they are very strong in this. Like they should do everything possible to make a point in the election, whoever they want.
Right. You can watch live right now on YouTube and Facebook. Nigeria Info Abuja. We'll be taking your comment from those platforms. Nigeria Info Abuja. Ensure that you also subscribe and click the little bell right there to get notified when we are live.
And looking at the Naira swap situation, I know Kola will touched on it and how hard it's biting out there. The fact that you have to buy Naira with Naira, it's just an abnormal situation out there for a lot of Nigerians. That's if they can even find the Naira to buy. It got to crunch at one point where people could not even find any of it to buy. Now, the federal government is insisting on the 10th of February, ask Apex Court to dismiss the state suit. Let's follow up on that.
Okay, so uncertainties trailing the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN's Naira redesign policy continued yesterday, where the Supreme Court overruled an earlier injunction granted by High Court in the Federal Territory FCT, restraining federal government and the CBN from mining the February 10th deadline for the ongoing currency swap. While the Supreme Court ruling appeared to have doused the tension scarcity of cash had induced in the polity, the federal government last night approached the Supreme Court, asking it to dismiss a suit challenging the February 10th deadline, set CBN to end the legal tender status of the old currency notes of 500 and 1,000 Naira. Now, it argued that the Supreme Court lacks jurisdiction to hear it, which held by three Zuna, Kogi, and Zamfara, all in the north of the country and controlled by the All Progressives Congress, APC. Now, the Attorney General of the Federation, AGF, and Minister of Justice, Abuja Malami, SAN, sued as a sole defendant as representative of the federal government, filed his opposition to the suit as a preliminary objection against it at the Supreme Court on Wednesday night. And the three state governments in the application filed to challenge the Naira redesign policy prayed for an order restraining CBN from ending the use of the old notes on February. Now, a lot of people felt by now we would see the old Naira notes come back and we'll be able to use it. But some ATMs, a handful of these ATMs across the country are still not dispensing cash, and people are having to queue for hours before they can get any Naira notes to spend. Now, seeing that the CBN is not bulging yet, and they might be sticking to the deadline going at this particular report. 10th of February is tomorrow. It's a few hours before that happens. What should we be looking at? Would something change? Would we have a flooding of the Naira notes in a few hours, something that hasn't happened in the past few days? Or would the cuts...
And let's not forget it, we're still waiting to get feedback from the president, remember? He said, give me 7 days, and 7 days will expire on the 10th. So Perhaps it will be an opportunity for the president to address this, also speak to it. Is it going to obey this court order coming from the Supreme Court, or the position of some of the states insisting that no, we're going to stick with the tent?
How many states?
3 states. And River State is
Well, it took
also
3 states to take them to court.
threatening to...
No, they are not saying they will stick to tent. They are saying that they will obey the Supreme. So the state took the federal government to court, and I don't think the judgment of the court should be the one. To we can't be deliberating on whether it will be or not. It is meant to be obeyed. But the FG has already, but not. I don't think I saw execution of that judgment. So they are only appealing. And so let's see, let's see where that takes us. But if you think the CBN will budge, no, I don't think they will budge. Why? Because they fixed this date in the first instance, January, and of course it took. You know the outcry, the pressure that led to the extension, only 10-day extension. Let us see if we can learn some lessons from history. Those who are on this kind of short approach, he did one some years back. And I remember there was one report that came out 2018 that looked at what they did. And they said, that report said that that idea, the short notice and all that plunged the nation in disruption. Shortages, business sentiment, went down. It affected the country negatively. And the other reason why that was done was not achieved. Let's look at UK. UK introduced the new currency, I think, in 2016. But that planning started in 2011. 2011, they started planning. By 2012, engagement started. 2013, they started enlightenment on that. So by 2016 or thereabouts, introduced the 5 pound. It took them like almost a year. The following year, 2017, before they withdrew that £5. Then £10 was also introduced. The following year, 2018, withdrew. I think the last one was in 21 or thereabouts, or even last year. They were in stages. You can't do these at once and you think you want the adverse effect and the chain reaction on the economy, on the system. But unfortunately, we are in a time that the sides are very clear. Those who are suspicious that, maybe because of this man, they are still, okay, we are staying with this, regardless of the pain it is bringing upon the nation and the shock is bringing to the system. A long-term effect on the economy.
What's the long-term effect on the economy?
Oh, of course, you can start. I just gave you an instance of that had that. The experience. What years after, the report clearly showed that the reason why that was not achieved, because one, it affected business, even sentiment, policy, and all shortages of cash. So there are adverse effects of stuff like this when it is done. I don't think that between when to when, this is sudden. I don't think we should run this. But unfortunately, say Kim, I can say some things on air, but I don't think I'm suffering for this. I am not. Oh yeah, but those who suffer, they are the ones that aren't. See, most of the policies we bring out, they always favor you and I. Those are up there. It is.
Me?
We'll see. Regardless of what, and because you are Kim, you can call your
I'm with
bank.
the people. I'm not talking about.
Let me tell you something. Because you are Kim, you can call your bank. They can squeeze out something for you.
No, I
can assure you.
You could.
I can assure you. See, you know what I'm saying.
Call which bank?
I'm not sure I know what you're saying.
Let's be very realistic. Let's not hide behind the figure.
I can't call my bank.
Okay, let me tell you. Okay. See, before he got to this level. Well, you can see when folks are queuing up by the ATM, and when they were still paying, they'll be able to give something small. No matter how small, they will give out, please, it's not much, take this one. And if you keep taking small, you can't compare yourself with the man that will get to the bank and they will give you number 265, number 75. You're not the same. That is a fact. So this policy affects the downtrodden the more. Imagine, see, I'll give you an example, practical one. The woman sells plantain for us, okay? And she said she can't take transfer that. How much does she that she's taking to the bank? That the bank will not be taking something there. She doesn't have a bank account. Since that time, sales practically gone for her.
Oh, yeah.
Now, look at the woman selling pepper. What will you tell her? Come and take transfer. Stop waiting. I mean, we take that, that transfer, the bush, where she's going to fetch those, those things, those goods. No, she's going to farm to buy. She needs cash. So when you buy from her, for example, you buy, say, 500 naira, say 1,000 naira, and you transfer to her.
No, but the thing is, if we had 100 naira in circulation, we'll not be having this
Is it in circulation? Now, Kim,
that's the question. Why did it disappear?
What is even happening right now is go to the bank, the same money that CBN told us that they spent, was it X billion to destroy? It's the same money that they are paying back us, bearing CBN wrapper.
They put out a formal statement how much spent to destroy the old money. They're talking about... No, I recall when a video went viral some time back and it says old money they give some people.
Just Google, you will see. When they were giving reports of how much had been spent to print... to print the note, and the destruction was there. The statement was there. I read it. Some billions, some tens of billions naira. So if you have spent that to destroy new naira notes, to destroy old naira notes, go look at what is coming out now from the bank. I saw one, I was shocked. And the bank, I needed to follow the guy back to the bank to see. And I climbed, I was like, "This is from your bank?" They said, "Yes." "How did you get it?" "CBN gave them." You will see their wrapper there. CBN is bringing out those whole money that they ought to have destroyed. Because you need how dirty, these monies are. So basically, I don't think this is well thought out anyway. The timing is wrong, but I refuse to believe we'll do this because of a single individual. I don't think so.
Yeah, and you also start to wonder where that conspiracy is coming from, because I know a lot of speculation that this is targeted at one of the presidential candidates. Okay. And you start to wonder what's the correlation? How does it even tie? Given the fact that we have at least 3-4 of the major contenders here, if we're looking at the politics of this Naira redesign itself, getting to the nitty-gritty of it, and all the theories are coming from, how can people say it is targeted at one man, particularly the presidential candidate of the APC?
I don't know.
You alluded to it.
I don't know.
I
said somebody. I think God beg you. Kim, I want to go back home.
No, so that it's not as if it's rumor. We're on the roundtable and it's meant to be a hard fact. And then if you're alluding to some...
I went to a state and said, they have kept Naira, they have kept fair, but we will vote, we win. So what do you expect?
Okay, so where...
Don't you think that statement brought people's attention to what exactly is happening with the Naira's scarcity?
No, I don't think so. See, that was smart.
Okay.
In strategic communication, everything happening in the government, the effect is on the man, is on his campaign. So a smart way of taking himself out, that, no, I'm not part of your pain. That was a smart way. I don't think he meant to fight his own government. But he knew that those things were affecting his control. People were crying. And you can't be saying, vote for me, when folks are crying against your party, against the government in power. So it was a smart way for him to just, step out of it. Did it work? Yes. You know what? Folks are saying, oh, now he has turned a whaler. Oh, he's now whaler. They do not understand the import of what he did. It was a smart move from him now.
Calculated. All right.
Yeah, because now you are no longer lumping with the fact that, oh, he's part of those, bringing the pains upon you. They are not saying, oh, it's because of him that this is happening. He has turned around this stuff now.
Let's go on a quick break right now. When we come back, Roundtable continues. Stay tuned.
Let's talk.
Just so follow us on Facebook and YouTube also. And I'm sure if you click on the bell, you get notification of what and when we're live on YouTube. We see it in already, and I appreciate who've joined us. Ibrahim Hajara and Haziz Surajuddin says, welcome guest. Please take it easy on Kim. She's a digital oracle. Olu Biwa says, on the student holiday, university holiday, that is one of the problems with our elections. Why can't we vote from any location in the country? We're operating behind technology. If the law setting up INEC requires all of the traveling, Ashiru Abbas says they need to exercise their franchise in the forthcoming election. Closing the universities is the right way to go. The new Naira policy needs to be re-examined. The suffering is a little too much at the moment. And Ima Akpa,
Akbata right here. He's saying to me the policy is already yielding results. We do not hear outrageous ransoms from kids anymore. And Adakole Matthew is saying, I'm happy to watch you live. Okay, you're so beautiful. Oh, look at you.
Thank you.
Let's look at Facebook quickly.
Yeah, not this way.
It should. Truth. Good afternoon to our guest, Mr. Kolawole. You're welcome. And we see your messages, Emmanuel Abel, Ngozi Uduji, and Right Eze.
Did we Olu Muyiwa's comment?
That's a combination of his first message.
All right then. So join us, you Facebook, and get to see the live studio. And so just before we move on to the next story, I know we're still on the story of this Naira and all of the intrigues around it. But the state governor, like he mentioned, also has been one of those people commending the Supreme Court ruling on this. And it just tells you how powerful these governors can be also, particularly when their interest is at stake here. We didn't see this show of force coming from some of them with a lot of things happening. But this one particularly piqued their interest. Take it to the Supreme Court.
Let's say those things that you've not seen the show of. I mean,
taking this to court, for example.
Let's see the other things you think they've not done enough on.
ASU was strike. Did you hear them come together to put up a strong position, even though they said they wanted to interface when ASU was on strike for months?
Okay.
How much of the position did you see when we had forced going on for months?
You should look at each of the cases and
isolate them.
Yeah, not really isolate them. Look at them in context. ASU was on strike for increase in action of service and all of that. It will not affect only the federal government. It will take money out of the purse of the state. They don't have the fund.
That's because priority education is not a
problem. No, not that it is not a priority. They cannot set salary structure for ASU. In fact, as a matter of fact, some states before they have clamored that, hey, set your structure. Let's set the structure. But ASU said no. They want
across body.
Of course. At what? So if states are not going to court that, I don't think you should blame them. Number two, on fuel scarcity, they should take the FG to court. They should come and provide fuel that you don't have. Where you have power, governors have taken the FGs to court on enough issues. Quite a number of them may not be so popular. It is because this one is just at the heat of the moment. So that's why you see it. I remember in those days from Lagos to even Rivers, they took the FG to court, recently. They got good judgment against them. So you have this from time to time, but because it's something, very that's heating up now. And again, they just went to court to get an order of restriction. They call this one order like that. That's all.
But one important question, why the Supreme Court? It just felt there was a major leap here to get to the Supreme Court.
No, there are some cases like that you can go to, and it's just an order. It's not a joint. It is just an order, not. No,
I was just curious because when I saw the Supreme Court, when it yesterday, I was like, okay, why not a federal high court somewhere?
But even the AGF is now saying this is not the kind of case should go to the Supreme Court that should have gone to federal high court. But remember, it's politics now.
No, but that we turn things on its head in Nigeria because it's now politics. We're dragging Supreme Court to the case where it should have gone to federal high court.
Do you know how many things they've also accused Malami of doing? Again, that shouldn't even be that shouldn't be the actual process to have gone through. It is because this is, of course, let's just leave their politics for them. However, I'm sure the judiciary save itself from any external pressure when the time comes. If this case should not have been the Supreme Court, in their wisdom, I'm sure they will give this. Don't forget that you don't have people who slept and woke. Got the next day at the Supreme Court. They got there through the ladder, so they to get things done at the right time. It is not in their view, in their jurisdiction to hear the case. You can be sure that they will. Maybe when the this real stuff was, they will say that and they will return the case to the federal.
But going to the Supreme Court, couldn't it be because the Federal High Court and the FCT ruled that the deadline should not be extended, and that's because 14 of the 18 political parties took the case
now,
to court?
who took that to? This is a state. Don't forget it is state government now changing something. And so there are this. I'm not a lawyer, but I know you have this jurisdictions, you have these powers. So it depends on who went to the Federal High Court. They are not even appealing that judgment. They went straight to the Supreme Court to get this, and the AGF is saying no, that this is wrong. So let them both argue it, and we'll see if there is technically again like did in the county. That was very simple. And so I know they have. It is not that. See, the law is not for Christmas. It's what it's what argue that they give you. It doesn't like that this man filed through order of that root. So if that is a cross, gas or everything, it is like you something nothing. They say the filing itself is wrong. So all the arguments, matter how good that you did on it. So at times, let's leave this, these court cases to pan itself out. We can learn from it, increase our knowledge.
Well, like you pointed out, the Lawrence case, there's a lot to learn on unravel from that particular, because the surface of it just felt wrong. But then if you scratch, go below the surface, you get to find out the technicalities behind how they arrived at the
law is not just
which is
about
not
the
very
law.
Popular anyway.
Of course it is not. It is the technicalities make the law at times. Unfortunately, when you have a case, a very bad one, what lawyers are looking for are the loopholes. Technicality is one thing they look at to get you. And unfortunately, if you don't have a very, very sound lawyer or an experienced one, of course they'll get you.
All right. It's the round table. Let's get your perspective on the stories. Let's look at the next stories talking about PVCs.
All right, so this is about PVCs that were found by the immigration, and this about 6,000 PVCs actually. Now, the Nigerian Immigration Service (NIS) says seized over 6,000 national identity and voter cards from migrants in 21 border states. Now, speaking on Wednesday at the retreat for management staff of the service in Abuja, Issa Jerry, Controller General of the NIS, and 3,823 identity cards and over 2,000 voter cards were unlawfully possessed by migrants and intercepted and confiscated. Now, he said that the documents were intercepted in Nasarawa, Kebbi, Sokoto, Adamawa, Akwa Ibom, Kogi, Yobe, Kwara, Taraba, Plateau, Lagos, Ogun, Oyo, and other states. Now, he is quoted as saying that the cards were in ongoing operations to ensure that migrants from neighboring countries did not participate in the forthcoming elections. This is just 6,000 of so much more that might be out there. How do they plan to mop up all these PVCs? How are you certain that whoever is voting in this election is actually Nigerian and should be voting?
Well, unfortunately, we've not been running our borders right, and we know that we have very poor audits all along, and we've really done much about it. And we've heard story of neighboring countries, folks coming in there to vote, and it is common in some parts. You even have a candidate going to another country to campaign recently. So what I think is looking for, of course. And unfortunately, some numbers can be very significant in election. Tambo won the election by how many votes? Was it a vote or maybe 3 or 4?
Thereabout.
And so if you have 500, it's enough to do the damage in some places anyway. And elections like the House of Reps and Senate, all of that, they don't do many votes at times, to really get the victory. The margin is so small. So no matter what the number is, whether it's 1,000 or 6 or 10 or 20, it's not good for the polity. You can't be another country and be brought in as minority to vote in the election of a country that you're not part of. It will just be strictly on transaction. You do what they ask you to do, you go back. There is no sense of guilt or because you won't partake in whatever is a consequence of what you've done. So I think we should discourage it by every time. This has to do with our community again. Community policing is not just about the police, it's the people. We must be able to police ourselves. We know ourselves. If you're not in my unit, you can't just come from nowhere. The reason why election is not, so to speak, nationally like that, it is down to the very ward, not just the ward, down to the unit. You ought to have registered in that environment that you live, that you are known. So if strangers are coming, we should be able to question. Then this also should have started from when the voters register was displayed. When you display voters register, we should be able to look at them. We don't know Mr. A. No, we don't know this. No, we don't know this. No, we don't know this. And question these persons and even report them to INEC. If nobody's doing that,
But we had the schedule for INEC to see the what's it called?
The voter register.
No, there was a schedule that had given people
About
time
2
to
weeks, yes.
call out people who they felt were minor.
I just told you. So if they done that, maybe most of these guys would have been expunged from the register. Apparently.
Well, INEC did admit that they did clean the register even more and moved quite a number of people.
That was the one they could spot, number one. Two, see, how do you, if my brother that I'm bringing from Niger to vote is bearing Usman Ahmed, he's answering the same name with indigent of canon. So how do I differentiate them? INEC cannot do that. It is those in that community that will know that, no, this person is not part of us. So INEC will not know that through their server, us. Because pictures are there, the name is, very similar. You can see this, looking like, every other person in that community. So how will you say no to that? No, you can't. It is the people of that community that will say, no, we don't know this person. But fortunately, we don't have that sense of listen, in these days again. Because the fraud is that, maybe it's a person put there, okay, let's not report. Maybe it's for leader. If we want to run a thorough election, you'd know that it is only those who ought to vote that are there. Perhaps we'll be reporting these issues more.
Now, let's put this side by side, the physical election. A lot of people had issues taking their PVCs, and this was because they couldn't find it at various where they went to. But right now, we hear that the INEC rec in Lagos are calling for his removal because, according to reports, he was against a certain set of people from a different part of the country, and their PVCs were not found. A lot of them could not find their PVCs, and it's as though he's against them voting in the election. And we can put this as well across board other
take the statement
in Nigeria
that is against, or it was alleged
to be against.
What are the see in this country? You must also, you're part of this country. You've been covering report, and you know how we attach cement to things. You know how our emotions go. Go into things. I mean, most of those things at times is the emotion, the vibe. I want to vote. So when that is not coming, we tend to attribute different reasons to that. I don't think it will be possible for any rep because it's not even the one reeling the cat out. There are departments in charge, and there are different people from all the part of the country represented in those places. If there was anything like that, internally it would have come out. I don't think there's anything like that. However, if people are not having confidence, demand there, and they say it should be removed, I will advise the authority to also listen so that you can have the integrity of the process. Of course, not question at the end of the day.
All right, let's get a few thoughts in by telephone also. We had quite a number of messages from YouTube and WhatsApp and Facebook. Let's get to hear some calls through before we look at one more story. Call us up on 0700 9100 or 0809 5974869 or 0809 990137 to share your take with us on these particular stories.
Hello.
Hello. Itodo.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good evening, very much.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you, my dear. Welcome back once more. I greet your guests there. This is Commander Osman.
Thank you, sir.
Then that from the last line you read, the deck in Lagos should be removed for sake of transparency and that of any kind. You should be removed. Because people other states begin to non-indigenous of those states try to pick their PVC and vote. You know the consequences of it. That aside, talking about this kind of judgment we are getting today in the Supreme Court. That's why there are people today doesn't believe in this country called Nigeria. Like I said before now, democracy is for the people, government the people, by the people, and for the people. So today, most of this particular APC government, it looks like for some elites who found their way to the place of power and for their
Art Austin.
vote for the people. Imagine the people will vote. They will go and thwart it in the court. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's hear another caller. Hello?
Welcome to you.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Yeah. Our connection is really poor. You have to call us back. Sorry about that.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Hello. Good afternoon, Kimberly and Wachuku. I greet your guest.
Welcome.
Yes, my name is Ochomo Bodia. Victor Chukwueke was here. Ochomo Bodia, one of them. No?
Go ahead, sir.
Yes, I've been listening to you. Yes, your has spoken wisely, but there are certain ones that I don't agree with him.
Such as
This particular last issue of the Lagos wreck, has been synonymous with Lagos State. In the last election, people still complained about that. If your name starts with certain, you will not get your PVC. You will hear that it has lost. I had one executive of INEC say those are people who did double the decision. Some must be that many people do double the decision. I want INEC to check if that's true. Check the number of people who are collecting their PVC, whether it is one-sided or not. They're coming to money swap. I think if you watch those people who are coming out to say let the time be extended, I know people are suffering. But those elites who are saying this, if you watch, they
all right,
are
sir.
keeping the old Naira notes. That is why they're not with it. That is just
All right, thank you very much. You've made your point clear.
Welcome to you.
Hello, okay.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
I welcome you.
Good afternoon. Yeah, my name is Stanley.
Go ahead, Stanley.
Now, talking about the chief, it does not secure against the federal government. I want to they didn't join INEC. I mean, they didn't join CBN, that should. And that should be audited from the High Court. When you look at the people that instituted this suit, it is from APC. What are they? From? You know? And then why didn't they include that secret in the suit? Now, on the Lagos, I can say maybe the man is a little partial. They have to look at it. And remember, it's not the only person that place. You can't be busy as usual any longer. This election, as I said yesterday, is between elite, the students, market women, the unemployed,
All right.
and these political parties. We must do the right thing this time around. It will shock.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Thank you.
All right, let's hear you next quickly. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon, again.
Good afternoon. Welcome.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon, caller.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
My name is Joseph.
Well, Joseph, let's talk.
Yes, I listened to the INEC rec in Lagos. I'm not an Igbo person, but if you listen to that man, you can sense some level of sentiment in his voice. He said some people from the east came to Lagos from the east just because there is insecurity there, and they want to vote by all means. It's something like that. I listened to him live on Channel TV from days back. I think that was last week. So for your guest, or should I say our guest, to have said that some people are discussing reason. I mean, I think it's not correct. It's very, very obvious from his statement that guy is very, very sentimental. And I think he should be removed, probably posted to our state. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, the guest did say something that if the doubt is pretty high, then to just assuage that fear for the people is to do something. It's thorough. I mean, I saw where INEC put out a statement to respond to the handle of
Behind the scene, working with different organizations in the past, I know the pressure in times like this. I know the kind of things executive face. Everything comes on them. Do you know the volume of voters registration you had in Lagos during that window? It was high.
But then it's not excuse to make some flippant comments.
No,
I know that
that's where
every
I'm going.
word will be read
Yeah,
in lines.
Now, what he said, that people, that because there are insecurity in some places, so they to Lagos, and it is, of course, it's than ever. dealing with the challenges to get those things across. It's not no because there are some people came to register to give them. I don't think it meant that. I'm not defending, the man anyway. I don't even know him. However, see, it is easy to criticize side. When you sit in those places, you understand the kind of prayer there. And something is simple. If people are doubting him, regardless of his statement, whether it's for or against, take him out. We have said that here. If the doubt is there, then take him out. But I don't think he can deliberately deny some people from some part of the country their cards. It is practically impossible. You know why? They control it. There is a control in INEC. You should also talk to the INEC officials at the in another year. The control is there. He's not even in charge. He's not in charge. He's not in charge of that department. There is little. It is just that the top on the table when things are going wrong, they all on him.
The head takes the responsibility.
I know that he's directly in charge of that department. They don't print him the card. He's not even supplying the card. It is what they bring that he will distribute. You don't get it.
What they are saying and alleging also is selective in terms of how they distribute it based on the names that reflect on it.
No,
and when this narrative is consistent, it becomes almost believable as a fact.
Now, guess what? We have pushed a lot of narrative in that are not true, that are far from the truth. What I'm saying is, take for example, if the headquarters know that they have sent to Lagos State, for example, and they are saying that the ones being deployed out, being selected, do you think they wouldn't have created number two? He's not even want to even look at the system and say, okay, they can't be looking at the card one by one, this one is there, they can't do that. See, these are the things we know. They have internal mechanism for such goals now. There are different departments in charge of this when they come. They distribute those. It will even go to the local government. It will even stay at the rec stable. It won't even get stable. It won't even get to stable at all. So if I'm saying something, it's because I know the inner workings. Remember, we have worked with many organizations in the past. I have never worked Lagos State anyway, but I know how this works. I know. So, however, if people are doubting him, for the sake of the integrity of the process, let him be removed. They're already shouting that I cannot distribute the election materials to MC Baba. So if people are doubting this one again, the easiest thing you can do, for the sake of peace, take him out. But I know, however, that he cannot deliberately take some people. If he's saying that, there are insecurity in some places, so people can en masse to vote here. And there are challenges of getting this, sorted. This is understandable. We all know that too. Right now that they are even delineating more. If you're more than 7 feet, move you to the next place.
Yeah.
All of these processes, they are internal. Those are the things before we have to move this one here to another place. Those are the things that I'm referring to. But at times communication skills, we don't have it the same. But prayer also is there. Many guys don't leave office now 9, 10, 11 p.m. at times, and they have to get home and they have to come back the very next day. They have meetings to attend to. The prayer is there, of course, and the election is so close, and they need to get all of these things right before time, and nothing must go wrong. Is in Lagos State where prayer is on? Okay, so I think I'm not giving him. Trying to explain anything away from him.
You've just done that.
Yeah, no, of course, Kim. You know yourself in your heart of truth. Know that. He's not even in charge of that process. He's not in the department. There are ways these things work. There are internal mechanisms to checkmate a whole lot of these things. Even if it's the state, you have the region, you have those who are in the zones, you have local government, you have them. Okay?
But would you blame people for seeing that a large number of people from a specific region are affected by this, and then you go on and allegedly assume something? It's easy to just put you out there and say you are at fault and this is the reason why they need to their
let us put all the on him see, there are some things you shouldn't expect from a public official to say. Of course, he's broken the code. However, you should also know that before now, what you have in Lagos State, you have high registration there, but when it comes to voters out, very low. You don't have it. They're around. That's the day they play football. The streets are blocked so they can enjoy themselves. For this time around, you have it.
Sorry, let's go on a break.
Before I think of